Adam Fletcher Brown here with another artist video blog on Kicks96country.com. Thanks for joining us today, my guest, teeagoans, all the way from Nashville. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Welcome to Kicks Country.
Thank you, I'm glad to be here.
Now, you come to Nashville by way of Missouri, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
All right, so now tell us what it was like growing up in the Midwest and listening to country music like you did.
Oh, well, I was born in Lowry City, Missouri, a very, very small town. And I grew up, like I said, listening to just the traditional country music. We had an AM radio station there that we listened to, and it was all classic country all the time. And for a long time, I didn't know there was any other kind of music.
That's a true country fan. Raised not only on country, but on AM radio country.
Yeah, it's true.
So you basically grew up listening to the likes of like Merle Haggard, Patsy Cline,
Yes.
Hank Williams.
Yes, all that stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
And you just, all of your friends were listening to...
All of my friends, I can remember I had a friend that really liked Bon Jovi, and I didn't know what that was. And we went to her house, and she had a tape, and I was like, I don't know what that is. And I was like, something's wrong with that. I don't like that.
Really?
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I guess it only made sense though that when you finally made your way to Nashville, you would record with some of the songwriters that you recorded.
Yeah.
Well, we'll get to that.
Okay.
But you didn't immediately leave Missouri for Nashville to songwrite. There was some in between.
There was some in between.
But how did you come to singing?
I started singing when I was very, very, very small. My mom has cassette tapes of where she would stick her boombox in my bedroom and just record me, and I would be making up songs and just humming and singing, and that was just, and I was 2 years old, I was a little bitty. And so we started doing talent shows and doing little fairs and things like that when I was a kid, and then when I was 8, I started singing at a place called the Truman Lake Opry, which was near our hometown. And it was like a full theater style show. It had seated 600 people. We had a live band, live audience every weekend. And it was a great training ground for me. I did that for 11 years. I did it all the way through high school. And every weekend, and it just really kind of helped me to hone in on what I wanted to do. And of course, we played a lot of that classic country stuff. And in the early 90s and things like that, that was when country music, with the Mark Chestnuts and people like that, that were kind of bringing that traditional country stuff back, even then. That was just really kind of where I learned the craft and sang, and after I got out of college, that's when I moved to Nashville.
Yeah, but did you come out of college saying, I'm going to go to Nashville and be a singer, or?
I knew I was going to go to Nashville and be a singer when I was a kid, when I was really young. I've got a picture from 3rd grade that I drew of myself on stage, and it was, what do you want to be? And I said, a country western singer. That's what I wanted to be. So I've known that, and I knew that I would eventually get to Nashville. I knew that was, that's kind of had been the goal all along. And when I got done with college, I thought, okay, let's go, it's time. And within a month of deciding that, I was in my apartment in Nashville with no one I knew there, not a soul in the world. Never been to Nashville except on vacation when I was a kid, But it was a pretty cool experience just to move there straight out of Missouri.
No, I remember what that project, that Where You Want to Be When You Grow Up project, you know what mine was?
What?
A gopher. Yeah, well, the movie Caddyshack was really popular. The little dancing gopher.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I was
You
really...
can do that.
I obviously can't be a gopher, but I do live in the ground. So, let's talk about the album.
Okay.
Now, we've established that you grew up listening to classic country artists and you love classic country.
Yes.
And you have recorded this album, your debut album, The Way I Remember It. You've recorded songs by some really impressive names in classic country. Merle Haggard, Hank Cochran, Ernest Tubbs. Was that on purpose? I mean, was that like, Tia said, these are the artists I want to record their music? Or was that like, did your producer and you sit down and talk about what would be best for you? How did that happen?
Well, I think when we decided that we were going to do this record, I knew where my heart was. And I knew what I wanted my purpose to be, which was to just get the good traditional classic country, real country music to a new generation. There's a whole generation, I feel, of people out there that aren't familiar, people my age, that don't know this kind of music, that don't know fiddles and steel guitars as country music. They know what's out there now, which is fine, but there's that whole other side of country music, the people that built country music, that made it what it is today. And I just really wanted to get that out there. And so when we sat down and started choosing songs, it took us, almost a year to go through and pick the songs that we wanted to do. And we went through and just in the process, we found a lot of these songs, some of these were, like Walking the Floor Over You. I mean, that's a classic, and so it was like, when we had the opportunity to cut that, and I thought, well, yeah, and then we decided we were going to get Leon Rose to play guitar on it, who's an original Texas troubadour. I mean, that was
So now,
coolest
you
thing.
you met all of these artists. You met some of them.
I have. We got to, record a Bill Anderson song that he wrote. Of course, I've met him, and it's just been, it was just such a cool process, because so many of these songs were either maybe written years ago and people hadn't heard them, and they were written by, Willie Nelson and Merle Haggard and things like that, and people aren't familiar with the songs, but they know who those writers
Well,
are.
yeah,
and
this writing style is pretty obvious.
Absolutely. And so that was kind of a cool thing, I thought. And there's a few songs on there too. The single, in fact, is written by Jim McBride and Jerry Salley and Don Porthras. And Jim McBride wrote, a lot of those early Alan Jackson songs, Chasing That Neon Rainbow and that stuff. And the song, the single that we do, I Don't Do Bridges Anymore, that was, I was able to kind of use a newer song. That wasn't something that was, an old song that we redid or anything like that. It was kind of our own thing. So we have some of those on there too.
All right, so let's talk about the single, I Don't Do Bridges Anymore. What does that mean?
Well, that song, I Don't Do Bridges Anymore, is one of those moments where you just realize, you've tried to do something so many times. You've tried to build that bridge with that person, and you've tried to meet them halfway, and then you finally are just like, I don't do bridges anymore. It's too much. It's too hard.
I understand that.
When that person doesn't walk the other way.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people can really kind of relate to that, because it's such a, I think we've all had that relationship or even a friendship that we've had where we've tried, and it's like, if you're not willing to come the other half, I just can't.
I think all my bridges have been told bridges. I don't know, I'm sure. I've lost a lot of money. Tell you what, why don't we hear the single?
All right, very good.
All right, we're going to try a bit of magic here at Kicks96country.com. I'm going to get Steve, the guitar player, to come over here and play I Don't Do Bridges Anymore with Tia. Snap your fingers and see if we can get Steve over here.
I'll do it. I thought it hurt bad the first time, but the second time thou did me in. I went back
don't like that. I'm never doing that again. Good song. Great song. That's amazing.
Thank you very much.
All right, now you said the songwriters on that were Jerry Salley, Don Poitras, and who was the third one?
And Jim McBride.
Jim McBride.
Yes.
That is a great classic country song.
It's an amazing song.
It really, really is. Now, all of your, did the entire city sound like that?
I hope so. Yeah, it's got a real classic country feel to it, but it's, the production and everything has a real modern feel to it. So I just think it's a perfect blend.
Okay, well, let's say that you have made hundreds and hundreds of new fans on kicksightsiscountry.com.
Thank you.
And they all want to know where they can get teeagoans album and where can they get teeagoans music.
You can get my music at teeagoans.com. It's teeagoans.com. You can also get it on iTunes and Amazon.com.
That's where you'll find teeagoans. Are you on Facebook?
I am on Facebook, I'm on MySpace, and I'm on Twitter. So any of those things, if you go to my website, you can link into all those things. So
see, you can put some new in the old school.
That's right. You can do it. You can do it.
Tina, thanks so much for coming all the way down from Nashville to visit with us here.
I appreciate it.
We appreciate you visiting with us again, and see you next time in another artist video blog here at Kitch96country.com.